It's time now to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Hey, Vicki, are you
Good
ready
morning.
for the holidays?
Well, don't I look like I'm ready for the holidays,
You
George?
do look like you're ready for the holidays. You got your red on. I got some red on, and I see Santa
that.
Claus and all of that in the background. We good.
We are very much happy about the holiday season, and to all of our friends and listeners that are out there, happy holidays, Merry Christmas for those in our Jewish community where we just finished Hanukkah. Okay, blessings in Hanukkah. For everyone, as far as their celebrations with family throughout, Feliz Navidad for everybody. Because I think this is one of the years that I want to make sure that I say congratulations and well wishes to our Muslim community, to everybody who's there, because we know that this year, even more so, being with family and having family connections. But here's what I'm saying on the family connections. Now, realize I am not a medical professional, but I do follow the CDC guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And they have told us very emphatically that this year we need to stay within our pods, don't travel, and do the best we can to make sure that we spiritually embrace each other without actually physically embracing each other. You know, I listened to your segment last week, George, with Dr. Ahmad Rahim.
Yes.
And what he said struck me right here, because he was very transparent about the ravages that we've gone through as far as the coronavirus. But just at the same time, shortly after that, we heard about some great news. The great news was that Sandra Lindsay, who happens to be the first person to receive the vaccine, we believe,
in the United States. Yeah.
But okay, actually, we got to witness online, live, with the governor's office, that first vaccine being administered. But again, we were
by a Black doctor.
By a Black doctor to a Black nurse, okay? We were told again, this does not mean we have crossed the Rubicon. This means we are beginning the journey, and we have to continue to stay vigilant around the recommendations that we have throughout. So I wanted to, I had to say that today.
And I appreciate that. I just want to add one more thing. And as you know, and I've said this earlier, that, and my mother, you know, obviously affected by COVID, your family's been affected as well. And so this week was her birthday. And I did mention this earlier at the top of the show, but I wanted to reiterate how important what you just said is about following the guidelines and doing what's necessary. And, you know, don't we wish that there was a vaccine for her when all this happened. So I just wanted to mention that because it was a week that I actually had, I mentioned earlier in the top of the show, where I had a chance to celebrate Mom this week, her birthday. She would have been 78.
And George, okay, hugs to you and your family.
Appreciate
I can't get
that.
to you yet, okay, but I know how tough it has been for you and your family and families across this country who have lost loved ones to the coronavirus and to COVID. But as I said, okay, there is what we talked about last week. Spring is coming. There is light around down the tunnel, but we still have to follow. We have to follow the regulations, and please follow them to the T.
To the T.
Okay, to the T. Okay. But anyway, this week, and I told you last week, I felt like, my goodness, all of a sudden it's December.
All of a sudden.
Get here? Okay, I felt like it, because we've been working so hard.
You know what I think? I think it's because the weather has been milder than normal. Yes. That's why we all like, oh, we're here. Like,
we're here, right?
I know, like this past week, you know, with the storms and these things, I was like, you know, this is what we would normally be doing this week. So,
okay. But I wanted to be sure that we took some time to do some year-end cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is the perfect time for us to stop and think about some very important W's. And the W's are what, whose, where, why do we have, okay? And what I'm talking about is for those who've been listening for a while, if you go back several years, can you believe I said several years? If you go back several years, I started this journey with everyone here on talking about organizing.
Mm-hmm.
Organizing. With what we've lived through this last 12 months, the fact of needing to have paperwork readily available and instructions and details well ingrained in us has been more important than any time in history that I can remember. So I said, let's stop for a moment and talk about organizing again so that you can spend this time that we have for the holidays pulling things together for the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. When we look at your documentation or your insurance coverages or your assets or anything that you have, I want you to ask these questions. What is it?
What is it?
Is it an asset? Is it a tangible asset? Is it a business? What is this thing that we have? Secondly, whose is it?
Okay.
Okay. When you're trying to transact business, ownership is extremely important. Do you have a right to act upon what happens to this thing? So whose is it? Who does it belong to? Where is it? Okay. Is it domiciled in the state of New York, if it's property, or is it domiciled in another state? Because if it's located, I shouldn't use that word. If it's located in another state, how the laws actually transact around property rights may not be the same as if it were located here in the state of New York. We've seen quite often when we've lost loved ones and we have property in Georgia because homesteads have moved from Georgia to New York, or property in another locale. So where is this asset? Where is this thing that we have? What does it do?
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds kind of strange, like what does it do? But if it's a intangible asset like an investment, or an intangible investment like an insurance policy,
Mm-hmm.
what is it designed to do? If it's a 401k, what was it designed to provide income for retirement? Or if it's an insurance contract to protect us from disability or loss of life or injury. So what does it do? And then finally, why do we have it? What was the intent? So a lot of times when we start organizing things,
Mm-hmm.
we look at them and we go like, I'm still paying this for this thing, but am I really using it? Does it really fit who I am at this point in time? Or I have this thing that I think, okay, and here's a prime example. As you get older, George and Vicki, as you get older, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we've had disability coverage, life insurance coverage, homeowners coverage, things of that nature. And we may not still even own the property, but we're still paying the premiums.
Mm-hmm.
So look at everything that you own and ask yourself the question, why do I own it? You need to list these things out in categories. So I own a house, it belongs to me, or the titling in it. This is where it's located. This is why we have it, because it's a place for us to live. Sometimes we have property that we don't even know why we have it, like timeshares, things of that nature, okay, that we're not using anymore. Why do we have? Make a actual list of all of those things so that you can do an assessment of what is it, whose is it, where is it, what does it do, and why do we have it? And this is the time to sit down and have a conversation with those people who are involved. First of all, your executor. I'm making an assumption we have the will done. Your executor and anyone who's attached to this, to make some decisions around what we should do with these things going forward. But most of all, what instructions would you have them execute if something happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
So George, at this point in time, I know I've covered a lot of things. I know at this point in time, we probably have a very full plate. So I want to encourage everyone, unless you have a question. I see you.
I was just going to say, the reason why this is important now is because with COVID, with the way things are going for families, we need to have all of this information because oftentimes, God forbid something happens to our loved one, these are questions that we have to have answered, especially. And I was also thinking about if your loved one is single or if you have a relative who's single, they don't have anyone who they live with, they need to also tell somebody else in the family all those questions, the who, what, where, why, and how, so that they can access all of these things in the case that something happens. So yes, I'll play this.
Okay, all right. So you're absolutely right. But since you changed this, I don't want to confuse people. We're talking about W's, and you gave me an H. So let me start over. What is it? Whose is it? Where is it? What does it do? And why?
And what's the H? What was the H?
You added an H, George. There is no H.
What did I say with the H?
How?
Oh, well, forget that. All right. Well, listen, we better clean this plate up now.
We're going to absolutely clean that plate up. So it's what is it? Whose is it? Where is it? What does it do? And why? So at this point in time, we're going to say our plate is full. Please, if you have additional questions, feel free to call me at area code 315-930-4499 or reach out to us on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And I will say at info@brackensfsn.com. George, at this point in time, we'll say our plate is full. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. It's all good. All right. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Did I forget to tell y'all anything? Yes, Vicki is America's money maven.